Good day, good afternoon. Vincent Sarroino, GroupeSarroino. I am very happy to announce I'm in conversation today with photographer, from Photos Fera, Julian Fera. Julian, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for coming to share your processes and your knowledge and your expertise.
Pleasure.
In helping me, help my clients have the best possible pictures and helping me to help my clients to prepare for those pictures.
Absolutely.
So that being said, if you can ask you before we can jump right into it, if you can share your profile as one of Montreal's most experienced trending photographers, and including the state-of-art equipment you use, whether it's a condo, a luxury property, or a package offering and a process that does not change.
Sure. So my profile is photos_Fera, F-E-R-A _real estate. You can find me on Instagram or at www.photosfera.ca, which is my website. Been a photographer for 15 years and been utilizing Canon equipment, full frame equipment with a multitude of lenses and lighting and tripods. Being a multi-flash photographer, I always carry lights with me, tripod, triggers, white balance initiators, all kinds of different pieces of equipment that I need to make the job done right. It doesn't matter really what kind of property I'm tackling or the time of day when I'm shooting real estate, because I light up my scenes with artificial and natural light together. That streamlines the process and ensures that we get accurate color, good composition, and that, the products look as good as they can look, and the spaces look top notch.
That's great. Could you sort of specify how you collaborate with someone like me, like a real estate broker, in where we benefit from that partnering up of how to help the clients to prepare for the photos? So the first part would be, I would say, and I'll just go up front, is that I prepare really well on that part.
Take the words out of my mouth.
And I'll let you can speak from your own experience with me, especially because I have people that do the deep cleaning and the depersonalization of the home, and which helps you to do your job and get put your best foot forward to get the best photos, so we get the most eyes, so get the most activity on the property. So from that, I'll leave it to you.
Vince, you took the words out of my mouth. One of the things that was striking when I first met you, when we first partnered up on our first project together, was how well prepared that the property was. Not to say other brokers don't prepare their properties, but just some do it better than others. And yours were exceptional, from the landscaping to the fact that all the light bulbs are working, to the staging, to the windows being clean, to having almost nobody in the house while I was working. You really set the stage for an experience, not only for me, but for your sellers. Ensuring a house is properly prepared, staged, cleaned, and ready to go for a photo shoot will only help facilitate the process. We're not magicians as photographers. Yes, we make houses look great. We prepare them, we can Photoshop certain elements. But if a home is not prepared, it's just not prepared. And there have been times in the past where I've gotten to listings where unfortunately need to either be canceled or rescheduled because A, the kitchen wasn't prepared, the fridge was dirty, the windows were disgusting, the grass wasn't cut. That hasn't been the case working with you at all. It's always been top tier, ready for me. So everything turned out top notch. Your product, your sellers, and in turn, a fast sale, and for the most amount of money for your sellers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll pay you later when I'm not joking.
Sure, pay you later. Why not? While we're here, right?
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I equally feel the same way about you. You're quite professional and very detailed. And I know exactly what to do and how to do it because of that.
Correct.
So I appreciate that. And it's a great collaboration.
It's a pleasure.
Do you do any type of different photography pertaining on the type of property that you're shooting?
I like to, look, primarily because I do a lot of design and architecture photography, I don't like to come in with the over wide real estate-y look, as they say, and a lot of my clients that work with me know that. They're not gonna get those overly ridiculous wide angle shots, which I do not like. We are showing space and we are marketing to a certain degree, but I also think that keeping natural proportions could only help help the seller and help the buyer come in and say, hey, the space looks like the way the photos portray. So obviously, if I'm in a smaller condo, I will enlarge the space by 10-15% as a marketing aspect. But when I'm in a larger home, I tend to keep things very architectural, very reasonable, showing a lot of single point perspectives, a lot of lines, details, making sure objects in a 2D space look as they do in a 3D space, meaning how they look in real life will be how they look in the camera. And often enough, items need to be moved and placed in a frame for this to happen, which is why you see me work with my iPad and my assistant, because I might have to move a book, a cup, a plant, because in real life it looks one way, In 2D in the camera, it looks another way. So these are small things that I do.
That's what I love about you also, is that you actually, when there is a lot of furniture, even though it's well prepared, we move stuff around.
We do.
And
We do.
that really makes a big difference,
Yes.
because less is more.
Less is more.
So from that standpoint, that's a big factor.
Absolutely.
Could you emphasize how important, and we just did, but to declutter and depersonalize to the viewers that might be watching this video,
Oh boy.
from your own perspective, and you just mentioned it, that, you know, it just makes your job that much harder if it's not prepared. So, and could you be brief about it? And, you know, people, and maybe be specific. So I'll give you an example myself. People have lots of pictures. They have family pictures and everything else.
Yeah.
So maybe helping your process on the depersonalized, maybe you can elaborate on that.
I tend to send over a document to all of my real estate brokers, and I encourage them to send that to their sellers. I don't really have this problem with you because things are prepared. Personal belongings such as wedding photos, family photos, there's nothing wrong with that. We love seeing that. But the problem is buyers online these days, especially Gen Z, I hate to pinpoint, we don't have the attention span that we used to. You have 7 seconds to impress a buyer. The second an individual sees something out of place, even a candlestick that's just off-putting, psychologically something happens in the brain and they will be less interested. So that's why we prepare these things. We take off pictures, we remove Kleenex boxes, remote controls, make sure carpets are straight, make sure that blind is half an inch up. Small things that we should do to ensure the photo shoot goes smoothly.
Yep.
The photos will look better, and scientifically in the brain will create an endorphin release in a buyer. It's actually proven.
They can visualize their own.
Exactly.
things
They're
in that
able to
place.
compartmentalize things normally. It's contextual, but it actually happens, and it gives
Yeah.
them a positive feeling in the brain. It's called processing fluency. It eases the whole experience when someone looks at the photo, and they're less likely to swipe after 6 seconds
Absolutely.
to the next listing.
And
you
most-
do all these things.
yes.
Your listings are prepared.
And for the most part, that's the actual feel I get when people start to visit the properties after I've prepared them, and they go,
Yes.
they walk in, they go, it looks like it's actual proportions, the sizes of the rooms.
Which is good. It's
It
a
looks like the
testament.
pictures.
Correct.
It's, and that is so fundamentally, nothing more disappointing when someone walks in and says, oh, I thought it was much bigger than this, or
If
go
I
ahead,
may.
yeah. Yeah, sure, absolutely, go ahead.
Sadly, in our industry, and this is, I'm not generalizing, but unfortunately it's my experience, many real estate brokers want that double space size. They want that deception of size. I'm happy to report that my clients, when they work with me, off the bat, I explain to them, you're not gonna get that with me. I'm an architectural photographer. I will market your property. I will make it look a bit larger, but I will not double
Yep.
the size of the space. That's deception. It doesn't help you.
Nope.
It doesn't help your seller, your buyer, and it makes you look like a fraud. That's the way I see it. So who does it help? Nobody.
Nobody.
So when I get a compliment like that, when a buyer comes in and says, hey, it looks like the space, I'd rather them say, hey, it looks bigger than the pictures. Fantastic. You know, happy sale, happy seller,
seller,
happy
absolutely.
broker.
Perfect. Yep.
So
To ensure the property is thoroughly clean, including floors, wall, window surfaces, we've already covered on this part. And I think we've already covered this other part. So
Yep.
I'm just going to go to the next one.
Yep.
We never talked about the exterior enhanced curb appeal. I know
Wow.
there's challenges because of different seasons.
Yes.
So maybe you can highlight in different seasons to get the same effect on the outside, because the first impression is the front door, and then
Yes.
the surroundings in the front, and that is going to be the first thing. They're going to go online, they're going to look at the pictures, and
Yes.
they're going to decide from that point on, do I want to visit this property?
Absolutely. The facade picture could not be more important. And let's get the elephant out of the room, obviously, in the first phrase. We can't do anything if we're at a condo building. We can't do anything if our house is clean and our neighbor's house looks terrible. There's nothing a seller can do. Now, let's say it's a detached house, which is mostly what you sell. Landscaping, the grass is green, the grass is freshly cut, there's no leaves on the driveway. Light bulbs on the outside, whether it's landscape lighting, track lighting, anything, are all replaced. There's no burnt bulbs, there's no spider webs. Windows look clean. There's no leaks, rust leaks on a garage door or on a window. These help the curb appeal. Sure, a couple of spots on a driveway could be cleaned, they could be photoshopped out. You also invest all the time in doing twilight or dusk photography as a money shot, a facade shot. You heavily invest in that for your sellers. You put your best foot forward, and that's a huge selling factor because it's the first wow photo that a potential buyer is gonna see. Twilight photos make the biggest impact on whether that person is going to switch to the next photo, and after 4 or 5 photos, are they going to call Vince for a visit? You're right. So those are small pointers that I can give from my experience in the summer. In the winter, honestly, you'd hope for actually a nice calming snowstorm, a nice calm big snow. You don't always get that, but that's the nicest thing you can ask for. Big snowflakes falling softly. If not, just make sure there's no snow blowers in the driveway. Make sure that the driveway's either been cleaned from the snow, that there's no dump trucks, there's no salt bags,
no leaves from falls.
no mats that are really full of grime and dirt. Get all that out of the way the best you can. People understand that it's winter, and if the house hasn't sold, we'll come back and we'll do spring pictures after.
We talked again, you just mentioned maximize natural light. Natural light can make spaces appear. So I'll let you elaborate on this. I'm not going to go any further. And I think you touched a little bit on it, but if you can go a little bit more into it, because that also can be misleading if the lighting is not... So someone walks in the morning to visit versus the afternoon versus an evening. So
because we're shooting real estate, we're not shooting architecture. Lighting is, I hate to say less important, but it's less important in the sense that when I shoot for an architect, they would like to see the house lit up the way it is naturally. When we're showing real estate, we're showing the entire space, the colors of the floor, the colors of the cabinets, the colors of the sofa, the walls. The reason I use natural light and mix it with artificial light, being a multi-flash photographer, which is one of the reasons you hire me, is to ensure accurate color all around, and that there's no heavily shadowed areas. In architecture, we want shape, we want dimension, we want shadow. In real estate, we want the opposite. We want to show everything to look as uniform as possible. So natural light does make a difference, but 70% of what I'm delivering to you is artificial lighting to clean up the colors of the property and to show the true color minus all the artificial light pollution that comes from your tungsten lights, your daylight, your tinted glass. This is the reason why I use my lighting, to clean that up and show the true color of the property. If a wall is white, it should look white. It should not look yellow due to artificial contamination from your tungsten light.
So I'm going to segue to, because I'm big on videography.
You are. You really are.
You've done some really nice recent videos for me and done some in the past as well. So maybe you want to touch a little bit on what it is and what's the benefit of a realtor like myself who's selling a substantial property, a luxury property, the secret of the wealthy home seller property. From that standpoint.
I think as of 2022 and on, the landscape in real estate has really shifted to a video-focused landscape. Only 9 or 10% of realtors or brokers are still only utilizing video at this point. And you are in that 10% that do use video, because every listing that we shoot together to a certain degree has video. Video walkthroughs, not the boring walkthroughs, but more like the ones that I create, the fast cinematic trailers create emotional impact. They give vision. They tell people, hey, I could see myself in that space. Look at this, look at that, look at the landscape, and they also attach a vision to Vince Sarroino after. When they see this video one day in 4 years after they sold the house, they look back at that video, who are they going to think of? They're going to think of Vince. Vince sold the house. Vince got a video created for us. They're going to call back Vince for the sale or the purchase of another house. So not only is it emotional attachment, but a byproduct is brand building.
Absolutely.
Beyond that. So video centric, I think the landscape has changed, and it's significantly more important than it's ever been.
And when you do video, how do you, and I'll let you answer the question, I already know, but when you want to give them an idea of their surroundings, where they live, where this house is. So I think you've done some really nice stuff in this area.
So we utilize drone a lot. Obviously, aerial photos, aerial video, I think in the last 7 or 8 years has skyrocketed. It's become so necessary. It's not even, for me, it's a non-negotiable. A drone is automatically included, especially if someone has their license, advanced license, where they could fly under 5 kilometers from an airport. You take the drone up, you show it. I think the way I employ my drone quite recently with my quick 360s and rapid, it gives people that sort of like that disjointed, wow, what just happened there? But where are we? Oh, is that the Olympic Stadium? Is that the St. Joseph's Oratory? Where are we? Such as Dorno, the one that we shot. So I think using aerials is the best way to showcase surrounding environment and the landscape from above, which only 10 years ago would have costed $5,000 to rent a helicopter, which we don't need to do anymore with drones and the recent technology.
You know, clients, we've actually covered this as well, so I'm glad I'll take a step back from that. So I think following these steps that we just discussed will ensure the property is camera ready and professional for professional photography and videography, all basing all the steps, staging steps, we'll call them, decluttering, depersonalizing and all that.
Correct, yeah.
Do you have anything that you would like to add that the viewers need to know, as opposed to further about before they want to put their home for sale, what they should, the steps besides contacting myself or another broker?
Yeah.
Obviously contacting, asking for Julian to come and do their photography. So from that standpoint, would you, in a closing statement kind of thing?
Understand that selling a home is very personal for the seller. I totally understand that, and very personal for the broker. But staging a home and photographing a home is never personal. Never take things that we remove from a kitchen that we want to hide as a personal thing because it's not nice. The reason we do that is because it detracts from the emotional connection that a viewer in this day and age might have to the property, such as a remote control. Even if your grandmother, grandfather gave it to you, it's from the war, we understand that. But in the photo, a potential buyer does not need to see that. It's not adding value to the property. So anything we do to modify the home is never personal, and it's never because it's not nice. It's only to assist you, to help you, to make the photos look better, and to get you more money and sell your home faster.
So in closing, there you have it. Julian Fera from Photos Fera. Tips, advice, information on how to prepare your home to be camera ready, to receive him, to come into your beautiful home, take great pictures, help you, help me, help you get the most money out of your home and the most eyes and the most visits. So for more on Photos Fera, please, at the end of this video, download the book, get a copy for free, and you will see in the resource section, you will find Photos Fera, and you will also see his promotional offer. You can also contact me. Happy to help anytime. Thank you, Julian, for being here.
Thank you, Vince.
It's been a pleasure.
Much appreciated. It was a pleasure.
Always
doing
a pleasure.
business.
Hope we can do this again and
See you soon.
highlight some more information that people should know.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.